Hi, my name is Mr. McDonald. I'm from Los Osos High School. I'm going to be presenting the financial aid seminar that we gave on September 30th, 2017 here at Los Osos in our theater. This presentation is in case you want to see the information again or you just couldn't make it on that Saturday morning, so we're making this available to you via YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. So let's get started. This is for the class of 2018, this presentation specifically for this class. It's not good for prior classes and not necessarily good for the classes beyond 2018 as well as financial aid. Information changes a bit each year. So let's get right to it. Financial aid is assistance. It's not the complete paying of college. When we're talking about financial aid, it's not a full ride based on scholarships or athletics and those kinds of things. It's a basis of financial need based on one's financial position as seen in tax return forms. So that's what it is. It's just assistance. It's based on a family's financial position, and there are different types of aid available, as you can see in front of you. Those four types: grants, scholarships, special employment, and loans are always a part of this. A student must be enrolled or accepted into a college to take advantage of this. Program of study would also mean a 2-year program like a community college. It could also be a trade school that is certified by the state as well, and there's many of those. Students need to be pursuing degrees or certificates or other recognized credentials, which is generally anybody going to college. You must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen. Must be registered if you're a male with selective service. That's what we would call the draft, which has not happened for an extremely long time. But needless to say, that's an old law, and we still have to do that if we're guys. The last bullet doesn't apply to our students. Students need to have valid Social Security numbers. A parent without a Social Security number will be given specific instructions to follow. The third bullet, you can't be in default on a federal student loan. Students, you're not in default yet because you don't have one yet, so that really shouldn't apply to you until later. Hopefully never, I should put it that way. But that does exist. So in case you go to a graduate program after you graduate college and you move on to like a doctoral program or a master's degree, you cannot receive any more financial aid if you're in default on your loans. Kind of a moving forward informational piece there. You must not owe or an overpayment on federal grants or loan funds, which doesn't apply to you, but it's a rule. And you need to be making satisfactory academic progress as defined by the college you're attending. So if a college says you're doing well, then you are. If they say you're not doing well academically, it could help, it could hurt your financial aid. So here are the financial aid bear, our Los Osos Grizzly Bear essentials. 3 things that have to happen. The first one is super easy. It's the FSA ID. It just takes a couple minutes to get it. So you need an FSA ID. A few years ago, we called it the PIN number. Now it's your Federal Student Aid ID. You need to submit an application for financial aid. So that's number 2, the FAFSA. It's a larger portion of all financial aid. It's kind of like the real meat of the subject here. It's a lot. And then you create a WebGrants account. That's a California state thing, and that's pretty easy to do as well. And then you can do these things beginning October 1st, which just happened a couple days ago, 2 days ago, or 3 days, and you may go ahead and begin your financial aid. So your financial aid that you are applying for, you're trying to get the award here of 18-19, basically. You're going to attend school fall of 18, and you want to be careful what you select when you are applying to these things. Read them carefully. There is a deadline, what I would call a drop deadline of March 2nd. and you'll truly get all your financial aid you can, but you may not get all the money that you would have received had you done it by October 30th. So why would that be? Why on October 30th, if you get it done, would you get more money? And the answer is because colleges evaluate students for their own scholarships, and they tend to early on give those out, and when they run out, they're out. And we've had multiple colleges tell us we need that financial aid in by October 30th to evaluate a student's financial situation and get them as much money as we can for college. And if they don't, they'll miss out on the scholarships we as a university have for them. So we want to encourage everyone to get it done by October 30th. It's very doable, and let's go through that. We might start using acronyms during this presentation, or I should say. I say we because normally Mr. Rivard and I do this together. But there's plenty of acronyms to confuse you, and you'll see those coming up. They're not to confuse you, it's just the government has an acronym. I'm surprised government itself isn't an acronym. But anyway, let's move on. The federal government's philosophy is they want everybody to be able to attend college and to pay for it. Students and parents, they have the primary responsibility to pay for their college and their higher education. The government assists in a variety of ways based on a family's financial position to make college more affordable, to make it manageable. And lastly, the parents' finances in regards to education, they extend past when a student graduates from high school till right around 25 years old. So what they're saying is parents must continue to participate financially in their students' college lives. There are three types of financial aid. The best one is gift aid. That means it's a gift. You don't have to give it back. It's just free money. It comes in the form of grants and scholarships. They don't require repayment. Self-help would require repayment, like a loan, or something else like a special employment opportunity where you earn money that goes towards your tuition and all the other college costs. So the special employment opportunities are nice because they pay you healthily for your work, and it goes right to the college costs, and most colleges do offer that. And lastly, there are tax breaks. Sources of financial aid come from our federal government, the United States government. Here in California, if you are a resident of this state, you can get state of California money. Also, there's tax benefits to a higher education. The person who claims you as a dependent and is paying for your college will also have some tax write-offs, as your tax person can tell you and should be the only one to tell you about. And then there's institutional scholarships, and that's a fancy way of saying your university, it has scholarships and it doles them out as it sees fit and as it sees fair and prudent. So you'll want to talk to your university about its scholarships because it's got plenty, trust me. And then there are private scholarships. You've heard of FastWeb possibly, or your parents might work in a union or an office where they have a scholarship. Those would be considered private. They're not from the university, they're not from the government, so they're private scholarships. So the goal of financial aid is to assist students and families in paying for college. It's achieved by evaluating your family's ability to pay for educational costs, and then taking the money available and distributing it in an equitable manner, providing a balance of gift aid and self-help aid. So the first thing we're going to do in that list we talked about earlier is get an FSA ID. I told you about this already. It replaced the PIN, etc. So the website for the FSA ID is at FAFSA.gov. It's actually kind of part of the process of the FAFSA. If you don't have one, it'll ask you to get one, and it'll just take you maybe 3 minutes to enter all that information in, and you'll be up and running. Both student and parent need an FSA ID because they both have to sign the financial aid stuff, such as the FAFSA and any awards you'll receive. It's considered your legal signature, and especially an e-signature. Sometimes if you sit down with financial aid at a university, they might just have you enter your FSA ID number instead of signing because they're doing all of your documents. right there on the computer, and they have to have you sign it electronically. So you'll want your FSA ID available with you whenever you visit a financial aid office in case they have questions or they want you to sign something. You should keep a file folder in your house where you will not lose it going forward, because this is something that occurs every year, what we're talking about. Everybody's got to do a new FAFSA every year while they're in college. So a couple important notes, the last two things down here: parent and student usernames must be different, and also the parent and student email addresses must be different. So both have to have a different username, both have to have a different email address. So here is the FAFSA. If you were to go to FAFSA.gov right now, it would look like this. And you would go to the green button in the middle left, start a new FAFSA. And it would say log in. It'll say down below, the first blue text you see going down about the middle of the page there, it says create an FSA ID number. That's for those who don't have one yet, okay? And that's the very first thing you do, is create that FSA ID as you're going through the FAFSA. So here it is, you're going to create an FSA ID. It looks very similar to this. They've made the fields bigger this year for some reason, but it's the same basic thing. You need an email address, confirm the email, create a username and a password, then confirm your password. Then what we're going to do is complete and submit a FAFSA. It's also online. It stands for the free application for federal student aid. That's because it doesn't cost anything. It's important. It's the basis for all awards, both federal and state, when it comes to financial aid, and it's free. It's based on parents' and students' tax returns. A quick note on student tax returns: anything you make in 2016, as far as a job goes that you received a W-2 for, half of what you earn will be expected to be contributed to your college fund. So should be saving that. It's kind of hard because we're using 16 returns and it's not for some time, but you should be saving half of everything you earn for college, because they're going to expect you to pay that. So we're going to use our 2016 tax returns to submit our FAFSAs. That means they're done. They should be all ready to go. So it's brand new as of last year, but do not wait and use your 2017 returns. You won't use that until the next year, like sophomore year of college. That'll be when you're completing that for the second year of college. So we're using 2016s. Makes it easier because they are available right now, where 17s are not yet available. So we need to, again, submit them by October 30th, so we really can't wait for 17. The government finally realizes this and changes it to 2016. Good for them, great decision. Everybody in financial aid and in high school that deals with this is so happy they did that. So here's the big deal. Corrections are always allowed on your FAFSA. Let's say you submit it and there's a bunch of mess ups in there. It's okay because you can fix it. Corrections are always allowed. The problem is late submissions are not. So once you submit it, if you have to make corrections, it is allowed, but you can't submit for the first time late. You'll lose all your financial aid. While you're doing your FAFSA, one of the neatest tools comes from the IRS now, and they have linked the FAFSA with the IRS tax returns because the federal government can speak with itself. They've created the ability to do this between these two government offices. So it makes it really easy to fill out your FAFSA because you can just download your 2016 return right to your FAFSA and voila, you've got it. So while completing the FAFSA, they're going to ask you to do that, and we would recommend it. They will authenticate your identity. There's a way to do that, and anybody who's filed electronically their taxes before realizes this. There's very good ways they have of doing this. When they find a match, they're going to send real-time results to your application and populate your application with your financial information. And then you have a choice. This last item at the bottom, you have a choice whether or not to transfer the data to the FAFSA. It's recommended that you do, but you might have a reason you don't. I don't know what those reasons are. I haven't heard or had anyone elaborate to me why someone might want to do that. So the obvious questions that arise because of income is this, 2016 taxes are different than 17. Some people lose their jobs in 16 to 17 and their incomes significantly drop. What do you do? And the answer is you go ahead and just do your application the normal way, but when you're accepted to a college, you would talk to the financial aid officer at the universities in question and tell them your financial situation. Like, let's say it was me and I lost my job. I would say I lost my job in 2017. My income is only $20,000 total for the year, and I have a bankruptcy going on, and it's not a fair assessment to use 16 because I don't have any money to pay for college at all. Well, that financial aid officer has been given authority by the federal government to override everything that they choose to by way of their policies. So they can help in the situation dramatically. FAFSA.gov. That is the location of your FAFSA. So it's pretty simple. It used to be FAFSA.ed.gov. It is no longer that. It's just FAFSA.gov. And it's available on 10/1, which means it's available now. Never ever begin before 10/1 every year. Never ever begin it before 10/1. You will not be filing for the correct year of attendance if you do that. The fall term for students isn't available until 10/1, and that's the term every year that you're applying for. So every year you can begin on 10/1, but not before. Submit your FAFSA as early as possible, and again, recommendation is 10/30/17. So here's the FAFSA, another shot of it. Again, we're going to just reiterate, 2016 tax returns are used. The drop deadline is March 2nd, although October 30th is recommended. You're applying for the 2018-19 school year with a fall 2018 college start date, so keep all those things in mind. It's not when you're applying, it's when you're attending. Use your name as it appears on your unofficial transcript. So if you need one of those, come to the office. And your transcript should match your, exactly should match your Social Security card as well. Because this is a federal document being matched up with your FAFSA, which is another federal document, which is being matched up with your high school records. They all should have the same name on them. So if your Social Security number card has a different name on it, if your Social Security card has your legal name, you need to come into the school and make sure they update it here so that it reads correctly. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to match up your financial aid with you, and that will cause big problems. Free means free. Don't ever pay someone to do the FAFSA for you. There are companies that will. It's just not necessary whatsoever. It's not going to get you more money because you had someone else do it for you. So you need to do it yourself because you do it every year. So why should you apply in October? Well, a couple of good things happen in addition to what I've covered. You'll get an early award notification, a November 1st notification. You'll receive your student aid report, your California aid report, which one's federal and one's state, in that order. You'll know how much Cal Grant you will receive when you're applying to the UCs. And the one I covered before was there are scholarships available from universities, and they already know what your financial situation is or isn't, and they can offer you help. They check everybody out who's going through this system trying to get financial aid, and they try to catch all the fraud they can, like when people use the Social Security numbers of dead people, or someone might be from another country that's not here for good things and getting an education. It goes to the Department of Homeland Security, the student loan systems, Social Security Administration, This one here is the crazy one, the death master file search. That's just to see that it's a live living person's social security number or identification number, etc. Veteran Affairs, they're looking for things that might help a student as well. Then things are sent off. So yours is sent off to the federal government and the state government, and what happens is you get reports back on November 1st. If you do it by October 30th, you'll get your SAR and your CAR, your student aid report and your California aid report. You'll have them emailed to you. When you get this, your colleges that you specify on your FAFSA, they got the report as well. It's just not as nice and pretty. It's just more factual because they don't need all the explanations. They already know what everything means. So you get the nice elaborate one, they get the basic one, they have the same numbers on them. These guys know what you can get for college now. So that gives you the ability to talk to colleges if they will talk to you. Sometimes they'll make you wait till you're accepted. Sometimes they'll go ahead and talk to you now. So let's talk about the student aid report and the California aid report. So obviously you need your email, which means you need internet access. On it will be a report of the expected family contribution, what your family will need to contribute towards the student's education in college. It's called the EFC. So you've got the SAR, you've got the CAR, and you got the EFC. So these will get confusing, but don't worry. Just think of, on the report, it's going to tell you how much your family needs to contribute towards your son or daughter's education. Here's a sample for a 17-18 report. And over here on the right, hopefully you can see this, but on the right you'll see expected family contribution. And then in parentheses it says EFC, colon, and then a bunch of zeros. That means this student's family is expected to contribute 0. And that's a really good thing to hear. I mean, that would mean you're going to have less of a burden placed on you for paying for college. Normally we see a number in here. The DRN right here above it, 9755, that's a record access number. Colleges can actually find your student aid report information with this number. So let's say I don't put down Cal Poly Pomona and I end up wanting to go there. I can call Cal Poly and tell them, hey, my DRN is 9755, and they'll look it up and they'll go, oh, okay, we got everything for you, and we'll do a workup on your financial aid and get back to you on that. You can also now do other things to update the lists for financial aid, and I'll show you that in a second. So here's the important stuff over here, the EFC and the DRN. There's an exploded view so you can see it up close. The upper right-hand corner of that last page we looked at. So colleges, they have your report. If you reported to them that you want them to receive it, you can list up to 10 colleges on your FAFSA. So the 10 colleges you list will get this ISIR report. It's the same exact thing as your student aid report. So you get 10. What do you do if you didn't list college? Well, you can give them your DRN number. You can call the college, give them your DRN. You can go back and do a correction to your FAFSA. And you would also need to do a correction to your WebGrants account, which we have not talked about. So you might be confused when I said it. That's okay. We'll get there in a few minutes. But for now, just realize if the college has your information, great. If it doesn't, you can call and give them the DRN, which is on your report at the top. So here's another form. This is an electronic form. So this, you'll see the EFC in this box and the DRN right here. EFC, expected family contribution. They're expected to pay $2,017 a year. Their data release numbers right here. That's what they would give to the college if they did not send them the report. There's the up close. So let's talk about that person over there at the university, the financial aid officer. So they come up with the plan for you to pay for college, including the financial aid we've been talking about. They work off of your expected family contribution and the cost of their attendance. They use that to calculate financial need. Cost of attendance includes anything you can possibly imagine, basically. Tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, personal computer, etc., calculators, all your supplies. Loan fees are also cost of attendance. Study abroad costs, so in case you're going to go study in Europe or somewhere else for a semester, that's a cost of attendance. Dependent care expenses, if you cannot watch your child, let's say it's a person who has had a child and they want to go to college, well, now their dependent care expenses are used as well. Disability-related expenses and cooperative education program costs. So this would be a special program that you don't know about yet. College cost comparison for this year. If you're going to USC this year, it's $69,711, all inclusive with food. So those are the total costs if you live on campus, which usually all freshmen do, usually, not always, but most of the time. So APU, Azusa Pacific, is $46,124. University of Laverne is $56,111. The UC system, University of California, like UCLA, UCR, etc., it's right around $35 a year. And the Cal States are around $25 a year. That's the cost of attendance estimated at those schools. So my cost of attendance minus what I'm supposed to pay on that report equals my need. So in this example, oops, go back. If this was my expected family contribution in highlighted yellow, the stuff above it would be my need. So now you can see the need. So this is my expected family contribution, let's say of $10,000 a year. Up here would be my need. If I go to USC and I have an expected family contribution of $10,000, I still have a need of $59,711 yet left. Hopefully SC's got some good scholarships for me, and etc. Okay, so you can kind of see what the costs might be changing across the board. We're at Cal State San Bernardino. I have a $10,000 EFC, but I only have $15,000 of need compared to $59,000 over here at SC. I might get less financial aid here than I would at the schools that are higher priced. Your expected family contribution does not change with the college. Your need does. So your financial aid will be determined for you. Each college you've been accepted to, at that point, usually works up that financial aid for you automatically. I've not talked to parents who have contacted them before they've been accepted, but you're certainly free to try. Your financial aid offer will include grants if you are qualified, loans, both subsidized and unsubsidized interest on those loans, scholarships from the university that you are looking at, like let's say it was Azusa Pacific University. They would tell you any scholarships you might be qualified for. It's a good thing to ask as well. Do you have any scholarships from the university that I can apply for? Because I sure like to do that. And finally, work programs. You should always take work programs. Always, always, always. It shows that you really need the money. WebGrants account. So we also said you need to create a WebGrants account. So here it is. It's California Aid. You need it to claim your Cal Grant Awards, and all you do is create an account. So here's the URL. You can pause this here. It's webgrantsforstudents.org. Okay. So right here in the middle, you can see the create an account link. If you already have an account, you log in here. If you don't, right below it, you create an account. So help with WebGrants for students. There is username and password assistance, and also assistance with setting up your account, or if you get locked out. You can call this number if that happens. You can pause this and write that number down. So here's the thing. You need in WebGrants to confirm your school of attendance. Eventually you're going to choose a college, and that is where you're going to go. If this school was not listed on your FAFSA, what do you do? Okay, so this is my WebGrants school of attendance here. Let's say it was this school, San Diego Miramar College. Let's say it was that college. What do? And I did not list it on my FAFSA. I will go log into my FAFSA and make corrections, and I will add it to my list of colleges. If I don't do that, I can lose my California aid. So if you change one, you change them both, kind of thing. So this is your final school you're attending. If the final school you're attending is not on your WebGrants account, and or it is on your WebGrants account, but it's not on your FAFSA, go back to the FAFSA, make corrections. And you have to certify you've graduated when you accept it, and you'll get a tentative award notification. The California aid report will tell you how much Cal Grant you're getting at the different universities down below. You can pause it and look at that. Just read through this document. This year, the max Pell Grant from the federal government is $5,815. Cal Grant A, which is the big one, the max is $12,630 at UC's, $57.42 at Cal State's. Remember, UC's are a lot more money than a Cal State. And at the private universities, they also will give you money. It's a little less than UC's, however, but you can use this money at APU or USC, wherever that happens to be. And then Cal Grant B and C for even lower income folks. The middle class scholarship is for students and their families who are not qualified to get Cal Grants, but the government has decided that it will subsidize and help with this grant if your combined income is $165,000 or less. The UCs will give you $5,051 max, and the Cal State's $2,098. Don't think it's available, however, for private schools. So the financial aid officer manages everything about paying for college that has to do with how much you owe, where the money's coming in from outside sources, and how much you need to pay. They're a person down at the bottom of this page. You'll see thank you card person. This is a person you want on your side, no matter how weird or frustrating it can be, because they are on your side. They're trying to help you, so always make sure you treat this person like gold. So we've talked about the FSA ID, the FAFSA, and the WebGrants account, and then you may apply right now. And we recommend that you finish by October 30th. Here's some tools to help you. collegenavigator.gov. They have a college scorecard at College Navigator. Tells you about the college costs, grad rates, etc. That's just a research tool for you. You can apply for private scholarships. A popular one is fastweb.com. It will send you scholarships that you are qualified to apply for based on the information you've provided them with when you signed up. Findaid.org is another one. Those are the URLs for those websites. If you want to write those down, just pause this. Some other resources for you. This needs to be updated. This will still work, this link, but now we chop off the ED. It's just FAFSA.gov. And we'll be posting, obviously, all of our future videos on lohshelp.com as well as this one. We also send out a school loop to you so that you have the link in an email form, so you can just click on it and go. Here is lohshelp.com. This is what it looks like right now, or it's changing a little bit, but this is basically it. And we post all the most recent important information, including financial aid, FAFSA, all the links we've talked about. It's also under financial aid, this pull-down menu. This is the telephone number we've been given in the past, and it's worked for years. We're hoping it's still working now. This is the telephone number to get help if you're filling out the FAFSA and you get stuck. There's also a help button. There's a FAFSA forecaster to help you know how much money you might receive. And also creating the WebGrants account can help you do that as well. So there it is. And that wraps it up. Thanks so much. I hope this is helpful for you. This is a difficult process to go through. I know it's scary, paying for your students' college, and preparing for that can be stressful, as well as all the grades and all the applications. So good luck to you, and don't forget, if you have not watched or didn't come to our September 30th college application seminar, that's also on our Los Osos Guidance channel on YouTube. Thanks a lot.